More DVDs? Ahoy everybody, and welcome to the next part of a look at my general DVD collection. We're nearly at the end of my film and TV ones. This part and then the next part and we'll be done. Let's just carry straight on. So first up is Jingle All The Way. So as I mentioned a couple of videos back, I think it was, might even have been the last one. Didn't see a lot of the classic Christmas films because they just didn't fall right with my age. And the fact that I never had kids to show them to later. And I had to buy a load of them to use in a quiz that I did last year, a Christmas themed quiz. And I've literally just a couple of weeks ago from when I recorded this, they turned up on they were next on my to watch pile, so I caught up with a lot of them. So this is Jingle All The Way, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger as basically a father who neglects his family in favour of work. And his son wants a Turbo Man doll. His son, played by Jake Lloyd, who is Anakin Skywalker. He wants a Turbo Man doll for Christmas, and it's Christmas Eve and they've all sold out, and it's how he tries to get one, basically. But yes, it's fun, but it's nothing great. So that's Jingle All The Way. A very different film. This is Student Services. This is a French film starring Deborah Francois as a young student who, in order to make ends meet, gets involved selling herself, basically, to earn money. And it's the fallout from that. It's a very, very good film, and she is excellent. This is Taillights Fade. I don't think I've ever watched this. I bought this. I managed to get it quite cheap. When I used to work for the post office, we sold DVDs for a while. And this came in, and I think I picked it up for $1.99 or something. And I got it because it's made by Malcolm Ingram, who is a Canadian filmmaker who is friends with Kevin Smith. And when I went to watch it, it didn't work on my DVD player at the time. It was after it would play for about 10 minutes, I think it was, and then it would just freeze. And I don't think I've ever bothered trying it on any of my other DVD players. I might stick that in my to watch pile. So I really don't know if that's any good. It stars Jake Busey, Breckin Meyer and Denise Richards. It's sort of a road movie. I'm pretty certain I never ended up watching that. This is There's Something About Mary. This is a Region 1 release. Again, it was on DVD a long time before it was released over here. It's just an excellent film. Ben Stiller, Cameron Diaz, Matt Dillon. You're probably all familiar with it. If not, watch There's Something About Mary, because it's very funny. This is Demi Moore's Striptease. It's not a great film. It has its merits. She plays a stripper, obviously. It's not a typical film about strippers and sort of comedy drama, but it's not particularly funny. It's good cast: Burt Reynolds, Amanda Song, Ving Rhames, Robert Patrick. But Burt Reynolds sort of gets fixated upon her. Yeah, it's okay. It's nothing great. This is a great film. This is Sam Peck Straw Dogs, starring Dustin Hoffman, Susan George, David Warner. So Dustin Hoffman and Susan George are married, and they moved down to Cornwall, where she grew up, into a remote farmhouse. And then the locals, including her ex, sort of get back involved in their life, and they end up raping her, but it might not have been rape, and it's very controversial at the time. But yeah, it's just a really, really good film. This is Charles II. This was a BBC drama about the life of Charles II. Really good cast: Rufus Sewell, Martin Freeman, Rupert Gray, Shelley Henderson, Helen McCrory, Ian McDiarmid, Diana Rigg. Why can't I remember her name when she was the reason I bought it? And I've got her autograph. This is going to really annoy me. And in the process of looking it up, hopefully it will come to my mind before I get there. Maybe not. Emma Pearson. Of course it's Emma Pearson. Emma Pearson's in it as well. Yeah, it's really good. This was the first series of Whitechapel. I really enjoyed Whitechapel, but particularly the first series, because if you don't know what it's about, it's set in Whitechapel and somebody is reenacting the Jack the Ripper murders, basically, and they're investigating. And being fascinated by Jack the Ripper, obviously it made me enjoy this even more. Rupert Penry Jones, Phil Davis are the cops. Steve Pemberton is a ripperologist who helps them out, but also gets suspected at the same time. Yeah, really, really good series. This is Stitches. This is a comedy slasher film starring the comedian Ross Nobles as Stitches the Clown. He goes to do a children's party, has a really bad gig, and ends up falling on a kitchen knife and dying. So years later, the same kids are they're teenagers now, we're having another party. So thanks to a black magic clown cult, he gets reenacted and he goes to kill them all, basically. It's very funny, very good slasher film. This is The Ebony Tower. This is a ITV? Yes, ITV drama from 1984. So Roger Rees is a journalist who goes to visit a elderly painter played by Laurence Olivier to interview him, and he shares his home. It's in the south of France with two English girls played by Greta Scacchi and Toya Wilcox, and he falls in love with Diana, and it's all, a bit mysterious as to their relationships, what have you. But yeah, it's very good. This is Becoming Bond. This is the story of George Lazenby's life, basically. It's a very good drama, very funny in parts as well. Lazenby himself sort of narrates it, but then it's a dramatised version of his life. But yeah, especially if you're a Bond fan, it's worth watching. This is Premonition. I think this was another one that I bought off my friend. If you haven't watched previous parts, one of my friends at work, she was clearing space and she was going to sell loads of her DVDs on eBay. But I said, well, before you do, let's have a look, see if there's anything I want. And I ended up picking loads off from her. I thought it was 17, but the more I've shown, it was obviously more than that. So I think I must have paid £17 for however many I had off of her. Probably 34 then would be my guess. And 50p each, maybe. Anyway, this is Sandra Bullock, whose husband dies in a car crash, but then she wakes up the next morning and he's still alive. And it's very twisty-turny, very strange. She, then in a desperate rush to try and stop it happening. Yeah, you've got to concentrate, but it's an enjoyable film. Okay, maybe not. I thought I had another version of Crimes of Passion, but obviously I haven't. This is Crimes of Passion. Perhaps it's because I had it on VHS. So this is a Ken Russell film. So a fashion designer played by Kathleen Turner also works as a kinky prostitute at night. A sex-obsessed street preacher played by Anthony Perkins, is trying to save her soul. And then a private detective played by John Laughlin discovers a dual identity, and yeah, it's quite a strange film, but worth watching. This is The History Boys. So this is the film made of the hit play, starring all, I think, of the original stage cast. So that is Richard Griffiths and Francis de la Tour, and then the kids, if you like, are the famous one. Russell Tovey. Oh, his name is totally gone from my head, but I know him. James Corden. James Anderson, who played Danny Pink in Doctor Who. Nicholas, whatever his surname is. Let's see if I can find it. If you're watching this thing, what's he looking at? I've got my DVD profiler software up on the screen behind you, where I catalogue all my DVDs. So all I need to do is find the show. Here we go. Yes, Samuel Anderson, not James Anderson. James Corden, Andrew Knott, Russell Tovey, Jamie Parker, Dominic Cooper, that's whose name I couldn't remember, Samuel Barnett, Sacha Dhawan, the kids. But yeah, it was a hit play, and deservedly so, and it's a very, very good film. Previous 2 or 3 parts ago, I showed you Series 2 of Hicks and said that Series 1 was much better. This is Series 1 of Hicks. It is much better than Series 2. Really enjoyed this. As I explained at the time, it's sort of a British version of Buffy, sort of set in a boarding school, and it's sort of supernatural, and there's ghosts, and I can't remember if they're vampires or not, but they're certainly creatures that drain the life from people. Christina Cole, Jemima Roper, Michael Fassbender, Colin Salmon, Geraldine James, Anna Wilson-Jones, Amber Sainsbury, Zoe Tapper. Yeah, I really liked the first series, particularly. This was Casanova, so this was a BBC drama written by Russell T Davies, starring David Tennant as Casanova, and this was sort of what led to him becoming Doctor Who. But this is just a really good story. Peter O'Toole plays the elderly Casanova, and he's telling his life story to Edith, played by Rose Byrne, who's a young parlour maid looking after him. So it's all told in flashback, really. But such a good cast. Matt Lucas, Rupert Penry Jones, Nina Sasanya, Freddie Jones, just lots and lots of really good people. Very good series. This is Tinto Brass's Salon Kitty. Tinto Brass is a Italian, I think he is, director who's well known for his love of buxom women with big bums, which he likes showing off. This film is set during, as you can tell by the cover, World War II, and it's Berlin at the start of World War II, and loads of beautiful women are trained as prostitutes who are put to work in a brothel to try and gather secrets and what have you. But the brothel owner and the prostitutes don't know that they're being bugged. And yeah, it's Tinto Brass, and it's set in road prostitution with lots of nudity and what have you. But it's a really good looking film, and it's plot wise it certainly makes more sense than some of his films. This is Rape of a Vampire. This is a 1968 film by Jean Rollin, French director. It's a vampire film in black and white. Rape of a Vampire is just a schlocky title for it. I don't think the original French title really translated to that, and it's not really about sex. It's strange, it's peculiar, you have to be in the right mindset to watch it, but it's okay. This is Without You. This is an ITV, I think it was ITV, drama. So Anna Friel, that's my reason for purchase because I adore Anna Friel, is a school teacher. Then her husband dies, and there's an unknown female passenger in the car with him, so she's trying to find out what's going on, but then she's hallucinating, and it's very enjoyable. This is Labyrinth. This was one of these dramas that was produced by many different countries. Over here it's shown on Channel 4. It's sort of set across 2 timelines. So Vanessa Kirby is a modern PhD graduate on an archaeological dig, and at the same time you flash back to her ancestors, sort of in the same sort of place, and there's sort of some intertwining, and it's a bit strange. It's all to do with the Holy Grail. I'm not sure it entirely works having it over the two timelines, but the individual timelines are both enjoyable plots. The past timeline's got Jessica Brown Finley and Kate McGrath, and then Sebastian Stan's in it, and I can't remember his surname, Tom Felton's in it, Tony Curran, John Hurt. Yeah, it's okay. This is an ITV production of Henry VIII, not the Shakespeare version, just the life of Henry VIII. When was this from? 2003. Ray Winston plays Henry VIII. It's hard to make a bad story about the Tudors, particularly Henry VIII, and this isn't a bad story. This isn't a bad version. Great cast, apart from Ray Winston, Helena Bonham Carter, David Suchet, Sean Bean, young Emily Blunt, Claire Holman, Amelia Fox, Charles Dance, Assumpta Cerner, Michael Maloney, Mark Strong, Danny Webb, Joss Ackland. Really good cast. Yeah, worth watching. This is Exotica, a film by Anton Egoyan, or however you say his name, a Canadian director. I think he's Canadian, French-Canadian, possibly. So it's set around a club where they have exotic dancers, and there's a plot about a character, Mia Kirshner, who I adore, is one of these exotic dancers, and one of her clients is actually a person she met years ago when they were hunting for a missing child. But it's more about a study of relationships and rather than a plot, if you see what I mean. But it's a good film. Couple more for this part. This is The Ledge, starring Charlie Hunnam, Liv Tyler, Patrick Wilson and Terrence Howard. So trying to remember what it's about. I remember enjoying it. Basically, Charlie Hunnam, he's from Sons of Anarchy, is going to jump off a roof. The detective's trying to talk him out of it, but the reason he's trying to jump is because he's in a feud. He's an atheist, and he's in a feud with a Christian extremist played by Patrick Wilson. And there's an intertwining relationship with Liv Tyler, who is the extremist's wife, who's involved with Charlie Hunnam. And it's sort of a story behind why he's up on the ledge, basically. But yeah, it's a good film. And finally, for this part, this is Swordfish, possibly most notorious because it's the film that Halle Berry was allegedly paid an extra £1 million to show her boobs in, which she does. It's set in the world of hacking, and as such hasn't aged very well. But John Travolta, Hugh Jackman's a hacker who gets paid by John Travolta to work for him. Vinnie Jones, Don Cheadle. It's quite enjoyable. I like this case. It's sort of a see-through, luminous, greeny colour. Yeah, it's okay. It's perfectly watchable, but it's nothing great. It's on telly a lot, so you might have seen it. That's Swordfish. Okay, there'll be one more part after this. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you on that one. Bye.